Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in strong support of H.R. 4334, the Dignity in Aging Act of 2019. I introduced this bipartisan bill to reauthorize and update the Older Americans Act, or OAA, which was first passed in 1965 as part of President Lyndon Johnson's Great Society Initiative. For more than 50 years, OAA programs have helped older Americans maintain their independence and their dignity. Today, the Older Americans Act serves about 11 million individuals each year, with 3 million of those Americans relying regularly on OAA programs to meet their basic needs. Unfortunately, funding for the Older Americans Act lags far behind the increasing demand for its services. Although the population of Americans over age 60 has grown more than 60% since 2001, OAA funding has only grown by about 20%. Adjusting for inflation, this means that OAA funding has declined by about 16%. That erosion of funding exacerbates the vast unmet need in my home state of Oregon and across the country. It means that every day in our communities there are seniors who do not have the care they need and deserve. I've heard and read too many stories about seniors rationing medication or saving portions of their meals so they can stretch their resources just a bit further into the week. I'll never forget the story I heard of an 80-year-old woman in Oregon who was living in her car. She did not know where to turn for help. Far too many Americans continue to face poverty, discrimination, and barriers to basic necessity, and this is in part because OAA programs are underfunded and not fully supported. According to a 2015 GAO report, OAA services do not reach 83% of the low-income older Americans who experience food insecurity. That's more than 4 out of every 5 seniors in need. Today, we recommit to investing in OAA programs because we have an obligation, a moral obligation, to take care of those who cared for us. The Dignity in Aging Act authorizes record levels of funding for OAA programs, which will help expand access to food assistance, transportation, and other basic services that the growing population of seniors need to live independently. Under this bill, all OAA programs are eligible to receive an immediate 7% increase in funding and a 6% increase each year thereafter. This will result in a more than 35% total increase in program funding over the 5-year reauthorization program, restoring OAA funding to pre-recession baseline. This is a good investment because OAA programs help seniors stay in their homes and out of costly facilities. The bill also recognizes the need to support family caregivers and direct care workers. It extends the Raise Family Caregivers Act, which helps develop a national strategy to recognize and support those caring for their loved ones. My 91-year-old mother has Alzheimer's, so I know how important caregivers are. H.R. 4334 strengthens our focus on combating social isolation, which greatly increases the risk of stroke, heart disease, dementia, and premature death. It does so by incorporating social isolation screening into the health and supportive services that seniors receive, and by empowering local organizations to evaluate solutions for social isolation. The Dignity in Aging Act also establishes a national research, demonstration, and evaluation center for the Aging Network. This center will be responsible for conducting, promoting, and coordinating research, including evaluation and demonstration projects and related technical assistance through the Act. The center will increase the repository of information on evidence-based programs and interventions available to the Aging Network. The bill improves economic opportunity and engagement for older Americans. It includes individuals who are justice involved as a priority population for the Senior Community Service Employment Program. The bill also encourages the inclusion of arts education and cultural experiences among other supportive services, and further allows for demonstration funds to be used for multi-generational collaboration projects that provide opportunities for older individuals to participate in multi-generational activities and civic engagement activities. Finally, this bipartisan legislation seeks to improve services for historically underserved and marginalized individuals, including Native Americans, Holocaust survivors, and LGBT seniors. For example, it will create a National Technical Assistance Center dedicated to expanding the Aging Network's capacity to deliver person-centered trauma-informed services that meet the needs of aging trauma survivors. The bill codifies the National Resource Center for Women in Retirement to recognize the ongoing importance of their work, and it improves data collection and outreach for all resource centers that focus on populations needing additional or unique services. This bill provides a rare bipartisan opportunity to help millions of older Americans across the country spend less of their limited income on costly care, and just as importantly, to empower every individual to age with dignity. I'd like to thank Education and Labor Committee Chairman Bobby Scott and Ranking Member Virginia Fox, as well as my co-leads on the bill, Representative Elise Stefanik, Subcommittee Ranking Member Representative James Comer, and Representatives Susie Lee, Susan Wild, and Dusty Johnson for working together to bring this bipartisan bill to the floor. I also want to thank the hardworking staff, especially Carrie Hughes and Allie Hard from the committee, my personal office staff, Jack Arriaga, Allison Smith, and Rachel Bornstein, and the staff on both sides of the aisle. I encourage my colleagues to join me in supporting this legislation so we can better care for those who have cared for us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I reserve